So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio Reading and for my YouTube channel. And I am super excited to be joined by an amazing actor in the form of Matthew James Morrison. Matthew, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm good, thank you. I'm in good spirits. I've just come back from a week of spending time with my mum slash my nieces and nephews and sister. And it's really lifted me. So I feel really good. Really, really good.
I mean, life seems to be very busy for you. I mean, we'll talk a bit about, what you've been up to recently shortly. But first of all, I wanted to go back to where it all began for you. Do you remember your earliest memories of knowing that performing, acting was what you wanted to do? And how did it come about for you?
It's really interesting. It's almost like honestly, it's so weird how weird life is. I remember watching EastEnders when I was little and thinking, oh, I want to do that. And this is like when I was little. And And it's so funny because the thought that put me off is that I think someone died in an episode, and I was like, but I wouldn't want to go that far. I don't want to give my life up for my job. And so that kind of put me off because I thought when you died in EastEnders, you died in real life. Obviously, that's not real. But I don't know where it came from, but it's always been there. It's always been something that I've been interested in. And I think I started acting in school. I was a narrator all the time because I could read quite well. So I always was cast as a narrator until I got to secondary school, which is year seven. I know the systems keep changing every now and then. Um, but what got me into acting was church. In our church, the kids sang, we danced, and we did acting. And not a lot of churches did that. Like some churches did dancing with their kids. All of them did singing. Like all the churches are very well known for singing in our church group. But we did acting, which not anyone really did. And that's where I got the confidence. Like we could do anything in front of our church, whether it was singing, acting, or dancing, and everyone, all the congregation would be behind us, would be supporting us, would be cheering us on. Really, it was a healthy place to learn and cultivate confidence. And that's what got me into acting was definitely growing up in church. If I didn't grow up in church, I would not have that, or it wouldn't be the same. And I just happened to do loads of youth theatres. Nottingham Playhouse Youth Theatre was one of the biggest platforms that I went on to do when I was in secondary school. And then that led me to the National Youth Theatre and then to the National Youth Film Academy. Then I got an agent and when I finished university, I went to auditioning and, something stuck eventually and just kept doing it.
I mean, do you
I don't know what
remember?
the question was. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. Do you remember the first time that you went out on a stage and the feeling? And have you always been quite a confident person, or did that come sort of later in life?
I'm not a confident person. I don't know. I think I remember I've just come off a show, and before I go on stage, it's like fear. It's like I remember I'm standing on stage, right? And I've come from this way, but I'm behind the curtains. And there's like something walking up to me, which is fear and doubt, and you don't deserve to be here. And usually on the first night, it stays with me for a bit. No, it doesn't come with me on stage, but it sort of takes over a bit before I go on stage. As the third or fourth night comes along, I say no to it. I'm not confident. I'm an introvert. I know I'm a bit hyper now, but I'm an introvert. I'm loud around people who I feel safe with. But if you see me walking around or doing my own thing, I'm a very sort of like I keep myself to myself. I'm not like boisterous. I know I would say I am confident. I'm so contradictory. I know I am. Yeah, I don't know. What was the question?
So, I mean, would you say that the first time you performed on stage, what was the feeling you had? Do you remember that first time in front of a crowd and just the reaction you got?
No. Whatever it is, it would have been at church and it would probably have been a dance. And me and my sisters used to make dances up as kids as well. We used to perform them to our aunts and uncles. And I can just imagine, like, if my nibblings, I think people get confused what nibblings is. Nibblings is a collective noun for nephews and nieces. If my nibblings were to perform in front of me, they're very young. They wouldn't do it. But I would be, wow, it's amazing. Even though if you're looking at it, like if you're comparing them to Beyonce, whatever, it's not going to be, a world-class performance, but you're going to be there, aren't you? But the first time, I can't remember. One of the first seminal sort of like experiences I remember properly, we had this thing called a national convention, which is all the churches across the country gathered together, and we did it in Wales. And we did Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I played Joseph. And I remember singing, I closed my eyes, drew back the curtains, and from the audience they went, ah, and I was like, they know it already, and that was something that will sit with me forever. Um, and that's I don't think it's one of the first times I went on stage. It's one of the first times that I was like, oh, these people are in there. Um, yeah.
Now, obviously, EastEnders came around for you in 2022. How did that come about for you? Talk us through the process of getting the role of Felix, and how were you feeling? Because that must have been such a special moment.
Matthew, I can tell you honestly, it was like a fever dream. I don't believe it was real. So go back to 2022, I believe. I had auditioned for this advert, and I thought I hadn't got the advert because on the I had a what you call it, self-tape to do, and then they brought me in for an in-person audition, and the wardrobe dates had passed, so I was like, I've not got this job. And I was working at Bernie Grant's Art Centre as a steward at the time. Comes to 8 p.m. and they say, I get a phone call, and it's like, the what's it called? The advert that you auditioned for, you got it. Your flight's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Someone's coming around now to where you are, send us your address with a is it PCR test they had for the
Oh
COVID
yeah,
thing
yeah,
in
yeah.
those days? So someone's coming around in a motorbike to give you a PCR test. Your flight's tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I had to finish my shift, go home and pack and fly to Prague. Um, and that was for a week. We shot for a week. And on the Saturday, no, on the Friday, so I think I left on Monday, and we meant to leave on Saturday. On the Friday, my agent calls me and was like, "Do you remember that film you auditioned for? Um, it's The Blackness. You've got it. It starts on Monday." And that film is more or less a two-hander. And I like to have a script like in advance so you can learn the lines. And I was like, okay, great. So I'm there in Prague on Friday. I'm flying back on Saturday, and I have lines to learn for Monday. I'm also working Sunday at the Barbican in on the bars in the Barbican. So I'm like, I don't have time to learn the lines for this. And I think it follows that for the next 5 weeks, I'm doing 12-hour, more or less 12-hour shoot days, going home, learning lines for the next day for this film, and having no time to breathe. And I'm like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get, I was like, we had weekends off, and I was like, I'm going to, on the weekends, just learn the lines for the next week and just power it out. But by the time the weekends came along, I was knackered, and I didn't do that. I just had time for me, and then went back into these weeks of 12-hour shoots and then learning the lines. Towards the end of this process, I got an email from my agent being like, we've got a self-tape for EastEnders. And here comes the character description of Felix and his brother and his family and whatnot. And in my head, I'm like, I do not have time for this. I do not have time for this. I woke up earlier one morning, bashed out the self-tape, and went to carry on filming, and was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know, they're gonna laugh at me. But Matthew, you don't have time, you've got to carry on with this. Um, as we wrap on the film, they said, Matthew, you've got a recall in person. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Are these people having a joke or something? And next thing you know, I go in and we finish filming the film. I get time to actually learn the lines and digest it properly. I go in, do the audition, which is really nice. Meet Chris Clenshaw and have the audition. And the next thing they say, have you got any more questions? I'm like, how many rounds would there be? And they're like, we're not sure yet. And the next thing, my agent calls me and says, you've got the job. And I say to her, shut up. And she says, that's what I said. And ever since then, it's been weird, man. It's been weird. It's
Because
been weird.
Because I
Sorry,
mean,
go.
obviously the character was very interesting, and the first drag queen, regular cast member. So, how much involvement did you get in creating that character, and obviously as well as Felix, but the drag act part of it. How much involvement did you get in tiramisu? Sorry.
It's quite EastEnders is very collaborative. They always want to hear your ideas. Unfortunately for me, I'm not a very ideas person. I can take something and then sort of finesse it, but coming up with ideas, I'm never really good at. So at the beginning, it was very, very much like I'm happy to go with whatever and do whatever, and I might have a little idea here and there, but really I'm not an ideas person. But they are open to collaboration. In fact, they really do welcome it. I wish I was a bit more able to be like, I have ideas, but I've learned to understand that that's just who I am. So I will just be like, yeah, tell me where to stand and tell me what to do. But I think as we progressed, as time went on, I became more involved and more comfortable and more ideas. Like the very last idea, I was talking to we were doing Tara once, and with Zoe Styles, who does most of Tara's makeup, and she came with the idea because Beyonce was on tour doing the Cowboy Carter tour. And she was like, "Why don't we do Beyonce for the last time we see Tara?" And I was like, "That's a great idea," because she knows I love Beyonce. We talk about Beyonce all the time. We play a lot of Beyonce when I'm in the chair. So that was again, that wasn't my idea, but I was like, "That's an idea I'm 100% behind." But yeah, it's they are very collaborative and they like to hear. I think they like it more when you have ideas because obviously it's such a big show, and to keep things fresh all the time, it really helps if the cast is full of ideas. Unfortunately, that's not me.
Now, I mean, you got to work with some amazing people on that show. I mean, the likes of Lorraine Stanley, who's appeared on this show,
Mm,
Roger Griffiths, Claire Norris. I mean,
mm.
especially being a part of the Taylor clan, and it is a shame that the Taylor clan is no more, but that must have been amazing because we're such a great family.
Yeah, there's I think one of the things that really it's kind of you don't know where ever you're gonna like you might not belong to a family when you're in EastEnders, but being in part of that family, they were so nice, man. I can't imagine a safer place to be in. They were so lovely. You just watch them all and you learn different things from all of them. It was a gorgeous family to be in as well. Um, the characters are brilliant and the people are gorgeous. So yeah, like it's really yeah, it's a blessing to have been with them and worked with them.
I mean, if the opportunity ever came about, would you go back to EastEnders? If they asked you back, would you love to see Felix back on the show?
Yeah, I would love to. I would definitely have to consider it. Depends what I'm doing and where I am in my life. But it's definitely like I look at that as, a seminal piece in life. Yeah, I would definitely have to consider it. It's been I've had honestly, it's been the a joy of my life to be on that show. Never thought I would be because I'm not an EastEnder. But yeah, I would have to consider it. I'd be stupid not to, right?
And I mean, the storylines are fantastic. You really got to be a part of some great storylines, and just the show, especially to be around during the 40th anniversary year, that must have been a little bit extra special.
Yeah, 100%. I remember watching the 25th live episode, um, and then being part of the 40th, being there like, oh, well, I'm part of the 40th. Even though I didn't do much, but even to be there was just epic, man. Um, yeah, I got to hold Claire's hand whilst doing it. Um, and we had jokes. Yeah, so yeah, it was a massive thing that I'll never forget. I should put that on my spotlight actually. Not only EastEnders for 3 years or for over 4 years, but EastEnders 40th anniversary special. But yeah, it's a privilege.
And I imagine you've made friends on that show that you'll have in your life for life. I mean, are there will you keep in contact with people?
Yeah, I do keep in contact with people massively. I honestly think about this all the time. Like, whose name do I name first? Because obviously there's Claire. I keep in contact with Claire all the time. Ashley, he played my brother. Keep in contact with him. Tamika, Diane Parrish. Like they came and saw my show. Aaliyah, Frankie, Charlie. There's so many people, and like I will always forget one, but there are so many people that I keep in contact with. Even Michelle Collins. Like we don't mess each other all the time, but we had an exchange yesterday of messages. Like there are people that you might not talk to them all the time, but you will eventually, like every few months or something. There's so many people. That place is filled with angels. And it really is like a family for life. And they're not getting rid of me. They can try, but they're not getting rid of me.
Now, as I theatre is very much where your focus is at the moment because you've just wrapped on a play, and I hope I get this right. Is it Blue Orange or Orange Blue? I always get it mixed up.
Blue Orange.
So tell us a bit about that, because an amazing cast. It looked like an amazing show. So tell us a bit about that, how you became involved, and what was it like to do that?
So Blue Orange, the story revolves around Christopher, who is a uh he's from Shepherd's Bush but has grown up all over the place. He's a 24-year-old black man, which is the character that I played. And he's been sectioned for 28 days. And after 28 days, he's allowed to be released back into society. And his doctor, Dr. Faruqi, believes that he's schizophrenic and should be detained for at least another 28 days. And Dr. Faruqi's boss, the consultant, the head of department, Dr. Smith, Dr. Robert Smith, believes that he should be sent out into society and is ready to go and has gotten better. And the reason as to why Christopher seems like he might be schizophrenic is not actually the schizophrenia, it's just the way that he is, that way that people are in his culture. And it becomes a bit of a tug of war between the two doctors fighting over Christopher, who's kind of stuck in the middle. And it was written 25 years ago by Joe Penhall. And it's about race, ethics, the NHS, mental health. It's honestly, it's genuinely something you have to see because it can't really be explained with words. Um, and the thing we've done to update it is before the two doctors were played by two white men, but Christopher's personal doctor, Dr. Fruki, has now been changed to be a South Asian woman to update it because the NHS does look more like that and has always looked like that since it started. So that's the one tweak we've done to update it. We've not really changed anything else apart from the name. Um, and I became involved. I just had an audition. I went down to Greenwich Theatre, so I'm a bit sniffly, and had an audition, and I got the job, and I got to work with two amazing actors, amazing director, and an amazing stage manager. Um, yeah, and just really had fun with it. It's a dark play. It's a heavy play. It's dense, it's heavy, it's dark, but I had so much fun, and I'd forgotten how much I love the theatre.
I mean, you obviously got to star alongside John Michie, who people will remember from Coronation Street, Holby City. Again, someone else who I've had the pleasure of interviewing, and what a lovely guy he is.
Yeah.
You must have just had an amazing time on that play.
I've with John Michie, I think it's Mickey. He does this thing where he'll get me laughing and then keep going and keep going and keep going. Do you know when you can't breathe? When you're laughing so hard you can't breathe. And he's delicious. Like my character, there's a section in the play at the beginning of Act Two where it's just me and him talking for about 20-25 minutes on stage. We don't really move. It's just two seats, us talking with each other. And I'm not giving him eye contact because I'm not mentally well. I'm sort of like looking, my eyes are darting around, and he's basically looking at me the whole time. As Matthew Morrison, I feel bad because I'm not giving him what I think Matthew would give him. I'm not giving eye contact. I'm not watching him. All I can do is listen to him and see him out the corner of my eye. But from doing that, looking at him from the corner of my eye and listening to him, I can just see how amazing he is. I believe the man is a psychiatrist, even though he's not. I believe everything he's saying, even though I know he doesn't even know what he's saying half the time. Not that he doesn't know what he's saying, but like he doesn't have a PhD in psychiatry. He doesn't have a medical degree, but he's so believable and so funny and so down to earth. Like I went to his house one weekend to work on some scenes. And he got me dinner and we shared a glass of wine afterwards. Lovely, lovely man. Yeah, brilliant.
And I mean, obviously, your career you've really got to do a lot in your career, because you've gone from that. Your next year you're going into Glorious, which I
Mm.
mean, tell people about that. You're getting to work with Wendy Peters on that. So tell us that story.
I don't know the story. I've not read the script yet. I had the audition for it during I think I got the self-tape last night of Blue Orange. Um And since then, I've just been focused on the play is so mammoth, Blue Orange, that if you take your foot off it for 1 second, like not to tell a lie, but we had Mondays off and Tuesdays were out. So we worked Tuesday to Sunday, matinees on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And Tuesdays would be our first day back, but we just have one day off, which would be a Monday. And not that Tuesday performances were bad, but from our perspective as actors, Tuesdays were always a bit shaky just because we'd had one day off. So I never took my foot off the pedal. And as soon as I finished, my mum came to see me on the last show. Then she stayed over from Sunday until Thursday. Then we went back to the family home, which is in Nottinghamshire. And I came back last night. So I've not had chance to read Glorious yet or see it or watch the film. I know vaguely what it's about. I'm playing Cosme McMoon, who's Florence Foster Jenkins, the worst singer in the world's pianist. And that's about as much as I know. As I finish this interview, I'm going to go to the gym, get something to eat, look through the script. But I don't know much about it as of yet. But I think it's going to be good. I've never been on tour before. I'm excited to go on tour. I've met some of the cast and I've met Wendy and the directors and producers came to watch Blue Orange. So we had a drink after one night, which was lovely and very nice of them to do. But honestly, genuinely, I haven't. Blue Orange is still in my bones and I need to let Christopher go, find Matthew again, read the play, and then I can tell you more about Glorious. But it should be glorious. Everyone seems really nice. We did a photo shoot of the day, and it's lovely. It seems like a very, very nice team. It's a different character completely to Christopher, which is nice. I do like one thing that I do want to have in my career is versatility. And the last three roles that I played, going from Felix to Christopher to Cosme McMoon, they're all very different, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, it should be, from what I understand, it should be something that is funny, entertaining, but then also moving at the same time.
I mean, I did see the film because I know I can't remember what year it was, but I know it was obviously Meryl Streep. I think it was also Hugh Grant. It's an amazing
Yeah.
film. So, I mean, anyone out there who's listening or watching that hasn't seen that film, thoroughly recommend going and checking it out. And then obviously they've got to come and see you on tour when you're doing the
Yes.
show. I mean, it's going to be exciting when you because obviously you said you haven't done any sort of touring yet, so you must be excited to get out and see more of the country as well. That must be quite exciting.
Yeah, there's places that I haven't been to on the list, and places that I've not heard of either, which I would love to go and visit. Love, love, love to go and visit. And it also takes me, for a week, it takes me near my sister's house, which should be nice, so I can go spend some time there as well. But yeah, I would love to. I don't know what it feels like to be on the road. I just have that song from Matilda in my head. On the way, I would like to. I don't know why that's in my head, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going out and seeing different parts of the country. And it's a privilege that work allows me to do that as well, because otherwise I would never do it.
I mean, going forward, is there still a dream role that you would love to do? Either a type of show or a type of play or a character you would love to play going forward?
I need to find a new one because genuinely I'd never heard of Blue Orange before. I'd never read the script until I got the audition. But Christopher, for me, I think is a role of a lifetime. It was so much. I think it's a story that needs to be told, but then also for me as a performer, it's going to sound awful. It's so juicy, and I know as like if I was to watch the show, it would make me sad. But as a performer, for me, I think it's the hardest role I've ever had to play on stage, and it's just a bit of everything. It's a dark comedy, bits of comedy there. It's so serious, and then to act as someone who's potentially schizophrenic and to hold the tension, the shaking, that honestly, that role is I'm so my family came to see it, and that means and they came from across counties to see that, and I did say to them, please come and watch it, and I'm forever grateful that they have because I think now, genuinely for me, that is a role that I'm the most proudest of, and I think it's going to be hard to top.
That must be such a nice feeling to know that you've kind of not to say you've already done your top job, but but to know that you got to enjoy it, you got to really kind of make the most of it, and that it's still quite fresh, that it's still you can kind of still feel that it's not that far behind you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there'll be other things that will come along, and hopefully they will. Um, but yeah, it that role. When I was reading the script, I was like, oh, I really hope I get this. I read it, and I don't usually think this. I don't usually take scripts in, but I was like, some of the lines, I was like, oh, I could imagine saying it like that, saying it like that. Like, I really hope that I get this. This is the kind of stuff that I do acting for, to tell stories like this. It's so topical, even 25 years later. Um, and I'd love to sink my teeth into a good line. So many good lines, so many good speeches. Um, and as well, being an ensemble in a three-hander, so many good speeches for everyone. Everyone has their own time to. It's truly an ensemble piece. But I think Christopher has the least to do. But emotionally, for Christopher, I think he goes on the biggest journey. But it's sort of it's very ensemble in different ways. Like there's like Dr. Robert Smith has the most lines, but Christopher has the biggest emotional journey, and Dr. Faruqi is kind of like emotional journey and a lot of lines, a combination of both of them. Um, but yeah, genuinely, if people can read the playbook, read it. It's a masterpiece, man. And I don't really say that about many things.
I mean, would you say going forward that theatre's more your love, or do you love TV, or do you love the fact that you've been able to go between the two? I mean, is it hard to pick one over the other?
It's hard to pick one. I growing up, I did theatre. I'm a theatre baby. But that's just because, you can put theatre on anywhere, right? You can do that at school. You can't just make a film at school. You probably can nowadays with technology and stuff. But I grew up doing theatre, and I remember like yearning to get into things that were filmed, and then doing quite a bit of filming for a while, and then yearning for theatre again. Like when I was at EastEnders, I was completely grateful for being there, but part of me yearned for theatre again. And it's like that has been satisfied, and I'm doing more theatre now. And I'm sure I want to go into film. I want to do all. I'd like to keep it varied. At the same time, I do feel like whenever I see my face on screen and hear my voice, I'm like, "Ugh, what are you doing that for, Matthew?" Um, but it's also immortalized. So if you're really proud of a piece of work you've done in film, you can see it forever, or it can be viewed forever. If in theatre, once it's done, unless you sort of National Theatre Live it. And even then, it's never quite the same experience as being there in the raw audience. Once it's done, it's done. And the one thing that annoys me about theatre is that I can't see it. I can't see a show that I'm in. But then also, if I could, I'd be like, "What are you doing that for, Matthew?" Like I am on the film. It's both. It's both. It's both. But I think if we're to put aside any sort of financial arguments, I think theatre. And maybe that is because I'm just more used to it. But I do think I am more suited for it. I don't know. But maybe, yeah, maybe I've just had more time to play with theatre. And maybe there's more for me to learn in film stuff. But who knows?
Who knows?
I, well, even like voiceover work is something that I really want to. I think that might be my calling. I didn't realize it was a separate vocation until just after lockdown, and then the industry became oversubscribed, and I sort of. But now I'm trying to get into that, and I would love to just play with the voice and not have to worry about what you look like or what position. Just be able to go fully into a voice and become a character would be, you know, I think that might be something else that I'd be very much interested in.
Now, I just have to say it's been an absolute pleasure. I could continue talking to you for hours, but I just wanted to, as we're sort of wrapping things up, just wanted to talk a bit about, the NHS, obviously, the amazing NHS. We're going out on hospital radio. What would you like to say to the amazing NHS staff who work tirelessly? What messages would you like to send out to them?
Thank you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we don't tax the rich, and by rich I mean like billionaires. It should be illegal for billionaires to exist. You guys should be getting paid so much more. You guys should be getting paid so much more. You do so much. It's genuinely like we there's a problem in the world at the moment, and there's so many problems in the world. When I think of the NHS, when I think of Kelly Bright's documentary and Panorama, when I think of all the problems we have across different genres, whether it's health, whether it's social stuff, whatever it is, it always traces back to money. And you used to be able to go out and one person, if you had a family of four, one person could work and you could survive and thrive off that and have everything you need. It's changed now. Everyone has to work. And all that's happening is there's becoming this wealth gap, and the rich are getting richer, and that's it. It's like they're vacuuming all the money up. And because of that, it's putting massive, massive burdens on everything else and everyone else. And I think that is the reason why the NHS is in such a dire situation. These people dedicate their lives to looking after us when we're ill. The NHS should be about prevention rather than cure. But because of lack of funding, lack of money, because billionaires exist and don't, all that billionaires need to do is give their money away. Or the government should tax them properly, tax them massively. If you spend £1 a second, you will spend £1 million in 11.2 days. There's nothing wrong with being a millionaire. That's absolutely fine. Even a few million, fine. A billionaire would take 32 years to spend £1 billion. It is disgusting. Tax them. Um, and I think then we can properly fund the NHS. I think for most people, we all have had experiences in the NHS where, we've gone through something where they've done an amazing job for us and we can't thank them enough from the bottom of our hearts. And if we didn't have them, we don't understand that, like, even calling 999 and having someone come and helping you out of a situation, not everyone has that in the world. And it's not free to do that. And you don't have to worry about, oh, can I afford this? Can I not afford that? Not everyone has that, even in some developed Western countries. And certain developed Western countries, think it's disgusting to try and make it free. America. Um, so we are so blessed to have it, but we need to start doing things properly. And that, I think, starts with there's so many things that divide people, whether it's race, sexuality. And I was talking to a friend about this, and I do think maybe the biggest thing, and I'm not saying that race isn't important and sexuality is important, but the biggest thing that I think is killing us at the moment is the wealth gap. We need to go hard on taxing billionaires. I think even Billie Eilish was won an award and was like, there are some people in here in this room that are a lot richer than me. Billionaires, give away your money because what are you doing? What are you doing? It's more, yeah. So I know this is about the NHS, but it is also about money. So I thank you to the NHS. And I'm sorry that the answer is pretty simple. And just like when we can watch a genocide and be like, oh, is it a genocide? Is it not a genocide? The answer's right in front of our faces and we're not doing it. So I'm sorry. I don't know how we can be so developed and yet so stupid at the same time.
No, I just have to say, Matthew, thank you for that. Thank you for giving up your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. You are welcome back anytime if you ever want to come
Thank
back and
you.
talk about anything else. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I probably said some things I shouldn't have said, so I apologize if anyone's offended, but you have the right to be offended and I have the right to say what I want to say. See, I'm doing it again. Thank you for having me, Matthew. I appreciate it.